Tyler Perry wasn't just a friend. He was the emergency escape hatch, the Hollywood lifeline Harry and Meghan grabbed onto when the royal walls came crashing down. He opened up his ultra-secure Beverly Hills estate, gave them privacy, security, comfort, everything Buckingham Palace wouldn't. He let them stay with their son Archie and later became godfather to their daughter Lilibet. That's not a regular friendship, that's sacred trust, and Meghan made sure to let the world know. Every Netflix frame, every podcast mention, every public thank you was crafted to cast Tyler Perry as their hero, their guardian, their savior. But that image has now flipped. The man who once protected them has just detonated a reality check that has Harry booking emergency flights back to the UK and Meghan pretending none of it ever happened. Because Perry didn't just cut ties, he pulled receipts. Turns out, their whole safe house saga wasn't just a shelter. It was a strategic hub. Hidden within those peaceful Montecito walls were late-night PR drills, carefully worded interview rehearsals, and reportedly a mountain of recorded conversations. Over 17 hours of it. Harry and Meghan weren't just grateful guests. They were power players, crafting their Hollywood narrative piece by piece with full awareness of how every tear, every sigh, every look would land on camera. Behind the scenes, sources say Perry saw everything. Not just the curated media moments, but the raw, unfiltered stuff. The fights about how much to say. The cold calculations behind who to blame, who to distance from, and how to present themselves as victims of a heartless institution. And that's where things get dark. Because those tapes reportedly include moments Meghan never expected to resurface. When news broke of Perry being hit with a $260 million lawsuit from actor Derek Dixon, everything changed. Suddenly, he wasn't the bulletproof billionaire anymore. He was vulnerable. And in Hollywood, vulnerability is contagious. Meghan's reaction? Instant erasure. Photos vanished from Instagram, mentions of Perry as godfather, deleted. Public posts praising him? Archived without a trace. Meghan's team moved faster than a White House press secretary on scandal cleanup. But Tyler Perry didn't build a billion-dollar empire by being soft. He anticipated this kind of betrayal. Buried in the fine print of the residency agreement Meghan and Harry signed was a clause that now gives him full legal authority to tell his side, and he's using it. The first leaked recording, just a taste, hit hard. Meghan allegedly discussing how to control sympathy, Harry venting about Netflix's demands, and that was just the appetizer. Insiders say Perry's got everything from video to annotated transcripts documenting just how choreographed their post-royal life really was. And the damage? It's already rippling through their carefully polished image. Netflix, which once handed over a reported $100 million contract, has since revised those numbers, down to around $20 million. And even that's at risk. Their deal's expiring soon. Executives are fuming over weak viewership and poor content performance. Behind the scenes, Meghan and Harry are scrambling. They've cut staff, downsized PR teams, and even let go of the elite crisis managers who helped build their brand in the first place. This isn't strategic repositioning, it's survival mode. The dream of becoming Hollywood royalty is crumbling, and the very man who helped them escape the royals might now be the one to bury their entire empire. Because here's the brutal truth. In Hollywood, loyalty has a shelf life. And for Harry and Meghan, the expiration date due back in Montecito, the walls are closing in fast. What once looked like a fairy tale escape has become a financial time bomb. The mansion alone is a beast. $14.65 million for the property, plus nearly $300,000 a year just in taxes. Add in $2 million for round-the-clock security, staff salaries, luxury upkeep, and those ever so aesthetic renovations, and you're looking at a monthly burn rate that would terrify even seasoned moguls. Now, strip away the income. The Spotify deal? Gone. Netflix? Teetering. Archwell, their production company, is bleeding money. Executives who once lined up to work with the Sussex are now looking for exits. Investors who saw brand potential are watching audience interest collapse in real time. Donations to Archwell Foundation have dropped nearly 30% in a year, and the unrestricted grants, the money they can actually spend, that's fallen even faster. In the nonprofit world, that's not just a warning, it's a five-arm fire. The prestige events dry up, high-paying speaking gigs get canceled. Suddenly, you're not a thought leader, you're a liability. Behind closed doors, staff morale is in free fall. Those who haven't already been let go are either tightening their NDAs or quietly preparing exit plans. The house that once buzzed with PR strategists, assistants, chefs, nannies, and stylists now echoes with tension. Multiple insiders have described a paranoid environment with whispered conversations and emergency Zoom calls. Even job roles are being rewritten to include confidentiality clauses thicker than most screenplays. And still, Meghan and Harry are clinging to what's left of the narrative. Meghan's With Love Meghan lifestyle show was supposed to be her glossy comeback. The soft focus returned to grace. But test screenings reportedly tanked. Viewers weren't buying the curated domestic goddess angle. Critics said it felt flat, insincere, and weirdly disconnected. The cookware was Le Creuset, the kitchen was pristine, but the vibe? Cold. The podcast deal with Limonada Media, once slated for a huge launch, has been quietly delayed into next year. Officially, it's about timing. Unofficially, insiders say it's about optics. No brand wants to drop a project in the middle of a full-blown reputation meltdown. And then there's the ultimate red flag, the gut punch every high-profile figure dreads. Multiple producers and streaming platforms are now pulling out of projects, not because of budgets, but because of toxicity. One Netflix partner reportedly dropped a pitch after hearing what Perry might leak next. Another investor bluntly told a colleague, "I'm not touching anything with their name on it right now." But maybe the most telling moment came during a podcast interview. Meghan was asked what she would change about how the public sees her. Her answer? "I would ask people to tell the truth." No reflection, no self-awarenessness, just the same blame the audience mindset that's turned her from a sympathetic figure into a public punchline. She doesn't see it. She still thinks she's the one being wronged. And that, more than any tape or tax document, might be the biggest threat to their future. Because you can lose a contract and bounce back. You can take a PR hit and rebuild. But when you lose touch with how people actually see you, and you refuse to even look in that mirror, there's no fixing that. Not when your empire is built on controlling the narrative. Not when your only product is the story you tell about yourself. And not when someone like Tyler Perry is sitting on 17 hours of raw, unfiltered footage that could torch every carefully constructed frame. Harry's escape plan was quiet, but not quiet enough. A late-night booking, a private jet chartered under an alias, a last-minute flight plan filed to the UK. No press release, no entourage, just Harry, alone, slipping out of the California bubble like a man fleeing a fire. Because that's exactly what it was. A 5-alarm inferno threatening to burn down everything they'd built. Insiders say the decision wasn't made after long deliberation. It was panic. A red alert meeting after Perry's first leak, followed by frantic calls to old contacts in Britain. Not for reconciliation, not for family bonding. This was survival mode. Damage control on a royal scale. He's not returning as a prince, he's returning as a liability. The man who once torched every bridge between himself and the palace is now crawling back across the ashes. Not to make peace, but to brace for impact. Because the next audio leak from Perry's vault could land any moment. And this time, there's no PR team to cushion the blow. Meanwhile, Meghan remains in California, clinging to the remnants of her empire. But she's not just facing reputational collapse. She's staring down a full-on financial reckoning. Without fresh deals, the money simply isn't there. The lifestyle they curated, the mansion, the security, the staff, the brand maintenance. It's a luxury skyscraper built on soft sand. Industry insiders whisper about foreclosure risks. Montecito neighbors gossip about late payments and unusual staff turnover. One entertainment executive described the Sussex brand as running on fumes. Another called them a lesson in how fast a golden image can rust. The timing of it all is what really stings. They had it. For a moment, they really had it. Public sympathy, media attention, global curiosity. But instead of nurturing it, they monetized it. Instead of building something meaningful, they doubled down on optics. The Netflix docuseries, the podcast sound bites, the carefully lit interviews. They weren't telling their story, they were selling it, and eventually, people stopped buying. What Tyler Perry has now is more than leverage. It's a mirror, one that shows Harry and Meghan not as victims, but as architects of their own downfall. Hours of recorded conversations, behind-the-scenes clips, private dinners, whispered strategy meetings. Everything they thought was safe inside those Beverly Hills walls could now be weaponized. Sources say Perry has already been approached by media outlets and publishers offering eye-watering sums for exclusive access. So far, he's declined. Not because he won't share, but because he knows the value of timing. Strategic silence is its own kind of threat. And that's what's really got Meghan nervous. Not the money, not the press. The silence, the waiting, the knowledge that someone else now controls the story. The Sussex brand was always built on control. Control of image, control of message, control of perception. Now, for the first time, they're on the back foot. No scripts, no rehearsals, no edits, just raw footage in someone else's hands. And here's the twist no one saw coming. Tyler Perry didn't set out to destroy them. He opened his home, offered them sanctuary, stood by them when others wouldn't. But when they turned on him, when they deleted him like a blemish on their curated feed, that's when the gloves came off. This isn't revenge, it's a correction, a recalibration of the narrative, a reminder that even fairy godfathers have limits. And when you betray someone like that, when you mistake loyalty for weakness, don't be surprised when the spell breaks. Because this isn't a fairy tale anymore, it's a reckoning. And Harry's flight back to the UK isn't a return, it's a retreat from scandal, from scrutiny, from the very dream he abandoned everything to chase.